another part of Barack Obama's legacy. 2015. In 2015, America sold over $40 billion in arms throughout the world. Amongst all the nations of the world, the U.S. ranked first in global weapons sales. U.S. arms sales constitute over half of all of the arms sales made in the world. France ranked second, and the majority of the people who purchased these weapons were developing countries. So all of 2015, global arms sales dropped around about 80 billion in 2015. In 2014, there was 89 billion in arms sales. Developing nations bought 65 billion in weapons in 2015. You have to pause and think about the priorities of these developing nations. Which nations were they? What conflicts are they in? And why are they investing so much? I mean, the one thing that we won't spend on feeding our communities. We won't spend on educating our communities, but we are going to spend money on fucking killing our neighbors. That's what we're going to do, right? But I digress. That's not the story. So National Secretary Policy Specialist Catherine Theohary, she's the specialist at the Congressional Research Service. She said, quote, this is due in part to the weakened state of the global economy, to concerns over their domestic budget problems. And she stated that, quote, some nations have chosen to limit their purchasing to upgrades of existing systems and to training and support services. The most significant overseas weapon sales for the U.S. last year included agreements with Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Qatar, and South Korea. Overall, the largest buyers of weapons in the developing world were Egypt, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Pakistan, Israel, and the UAE and Iraq. This is a part of Obama's legacy. Yes, we did drop down by $9 billion, but we still sold over $80 billion in weapons to developing nations. To developing nations. To nations that should be spending their money on economic development. They're spending their money on weapons. And this is the way of the world, right? Sad to say, but this is the way of the world. And this is not only a part of the Obama legacy, but this speaks to the very tight grip that the military industrial complex has on American policy and the American economy. So it's not just Obama's legacy. This is America's legacy. This is the legacy post World War II, probably before World War II, right? But just in my mind, I only sometimes think that far back. But this has been America's legacy for a long time. And it is going to be the legacy of every single president until a president is actually bold enough to come in and change that. And it's not going to be Donald Trump, because he has proven that if he's nothing else, he is establishment through and through, and he's going to continue the swamp instead of draining the swamp. So I guarantee you in 4 years, these weapon sales either would be stable or would have increased at the hands of Donald Trump.